Hello and welcome to the FIFA eFriendlies home show. We're back after an awesome / ridiculous program yesterday with me, Layla Annalise, Spencer Owen, Dan Gaskin, Mark Hatcher, Brandon Smith and Richard Buckley. We've got an awesome program for you today. We're going to be having a GOAT debate with a twist. We are going to... Thank you, Spencer. Spencer has his effects machine, which means it's just all going to be amazing. We've got part 2 of our quiz. We've got a brutal battle for the top spot there. And we've got the voice of Love Island, keen gamer, Ian Sterling will be on the show, as well as 2 big nation friendlies for you. Germany v Poland, as Megabits is going to take on Milos, and our Legends game, where Alfonso of Spain will be taking on Francisco Cruz of Portugal. So I guess the burning question to begin the show today is, Richard, have you eaten all the shortbread?
Not yet, Layla. There's 17 packs to get through. I'm not an animal.
17?
However, I am feeling quite fresh today. I've thought, bring a new shirt on, and I brought another little prop, because I want to bring some summer energy, some spring loving from Richard to you.
Oh, he's got the glasses on. He's got the glasses on. He's looking dapper, but loving the sound effects. Looking dapper, but is it as dapper as the velvet T-shirt that Spencer is wearing? This is literally velvet, isn't it, Spence?
I'm a velvet kind of guy. Listen, I wear velvet sometimes. Deal with it.
I don't know where you get a velvet T-shirt from.
Multi-cut. I made it myself. I found some blue fabric, mixed it with some green fabric, and then look on your higher. I've got a bit of pink in there as well.
It just looks like my grand's curtains, to be honest, Spencer. But, I mean...
Thank you.
I'm glad you've got creative.
I love these how are you lockdown conversations, because we all know very well that no one's really done anything since the last time we spoke yesterday. Mark, have you gotten any better at the guitar?
About as good as I was, I think. I don't think there's been any movement either way. Me and Spencer have been jamming in the rehearsals. It's been to be honest, beautiful is how I would describe it.
It's beautiful from your side.
I don't know.
Mark's good. Mark's very good.
Can we judge? Can we judge ourselves? Can we hear a little renditions that we can choose? Or
Mark play something?
Or is that putting you on the spot?
All right, are you trying to mirror it? Okay.
No, I won't. I just won't.
I'll
got tambourine. I'll get the tambourine going.
Get the tambourine out.
There you go.
I'm going to cut you there for copyright reasons. Thank you. He's good. He's all right. And Brandon, how have you been doing? I hear you've been doing other programs. I feel like we've been cheated on.
No, never. This is always the first priority. I'm just gutted that I didn't hear question 2 yesterday. I've missed out on this whole Mo Alba's pet situation.
You guys are still bitter.
You didn't sleep over it.
You guys.
I had a nightmare about it.
The quiz has been taken unbelievably seriously. We will be doing part 2 of the quiz later on, and you can get involved as well. Use the hashtag World Cup at Home. I'm not going to even allow the quiz debate to begin yet, because this is all going to fall apart if we do. Let's go to our guest, who is at home currently, stand-up comedian, keen gamer, voice of Love Island. Ian Sterling's on the line. Hello, my friend.
Hello, how are you? You well?
We're really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm filming essentially a television show, and I've not even been in the shower yet today. I'm living the isolation dream.
Ian, hello, mate. Hope you're good. Spencer here. I was going to ask you, because we were talking to Akin Fenway yesterday, obviously, as a footballer. We spoke to FIFA Pro as well. But obviously, you're in a completely different line of work. But every line of work has been affected by this situation we find ourselves in. So how have you had to adapt to your situation?
Well, my job is essentially a social gatherer. So I've had to completely reinvent what it is I do, because all I do for a living is get people in a room together so they can share their germs. So we've had to sort of diversify, share some laughs, share some germs. That's what a stand-up comedy club is. So, yeah, I've been basically, to be honest with you, I've been just streaming on Twitch, essentially, just playing a lot of FIFA. I've went from a gold-free merchant to a gold 3 merchant, and I'm loving it.
Brandon knows it well.
There's actually one player that's worse than me. Wow.
Have you got any targets? Are you wanting to improve in FIFA during this lockdown period?
I managed to get gold 1. I managed to get gold 1 a couple of weeks ago, and then I got gold 1, mate. I absolutely walked it with my with a ridiculously expensive team. and it's not quite panning out. But yeah, it is nice getting better at something. I've not really committed so much time to FIFA since I was at school. All my loved ones and professional colleagues are worried for me. But I think I'm going to quit comedy and become a full-time professional FIFA player. That's the ultimate end game. Me and Tex playing for Liverpool together one day. That's the dream.
Dream.
I love that you're saying that in sort of jokey vibe, but would you enjoy being a gamer as a career? I think you probably would. I'm
loving this. Like I said, I've not washed. I'm currently naked from the waist down. This is incredible, and I've quite enjoyed all the sort of technological side of things. I feel really guilty now about. Do you know, a few years ago when you used to get really angry at your parents when you're trying to get them set up on Facebook and get them a new laptop and all that, and you thought they were like ridiculously stupid. And now in a world of like house parties and Zoom calls and all that, I realised, oh yeah, this technical stuff's actually incredibly difficult. So I'd like to apologise to all the parents in the world. And also I'd like to apologise to all the young people, because all the old people have now ruined TikTok for you. I'm there. We're all there. We're going to ruin TikTok like the old people ruined Twitter and made it all angry and aggressive.
Ian, it's Onset here, aka your teammate, former teammate. Obviously, we've separated since the pro clubs that we played together.
We were robbed. It was an outrage. Akinfenwa should hang his head in shame.
Exactly. My question for you, before it gets too emotional, because I know that we had a good cry together after it all went down, was just the fact of how different is it to just play FIFA on stream in weekend league or whatever, and then actually have to play in a tournament scenario? Because that's the difference, isn't it? Between there's a big jump, there's a big change in mentality.
It literally, my palms were sweaty. I couldn't quite believe what was happening. I've never felt nerves like it. I felt like I was back on the football pitch when I played for Inverness under 16s. It's a much different vibe, but I liked it, and it is mad as well. Like this whole that sports psychology, how nerves and all that can affect how you play a game, and how it affects sport as well as like an e-sport is such a big thing for me. I always thought that was overplayed a bit when I watched like esports games, but it's legit a thing.
Ian, we're doing a little bit of a quiz on the show at the moment. And I'm thinking about going down the line of not answering questions correctly, but instead just trying to make people laugh. What would be your advice there? Is that a good route to go down?
It's a very funny route. And also you can sort of do that thing that I do where you act when I'm not good at something like football. If you act breezy like you don't care, it covers up for your ineptitudes.
Yes, perfect. I think this is going to be the plan. I think
I've done that forever. Every time I play fives now, I just act wacky, like I don't care. Whereas deep down inside, I'm crying and I'm overweight and can't play football anymore.
Quick one, Ian, from Richard. You said you've got a ridiculously expensive team on FIFA. What is the team? I'm intrigued.
Prime moments R9. Prime moments for like Team of the Year Messi, Team of the Year Mbappe. Who else? Neuer in goals, because all goalkeepers are terrible, and then loads of backline. I've just realised I feel terrible. You can hear my dog bark, and there's someone at the door, and I've just realised I've left the door locked. I feel absolutely terrible. This is the problem about broadcasting from home. I feel like I need to run quickly and open the door for someone.
Ian, do you want to do that? Do you want to run and come back? We can wait for you. That's.
I'll be 10 seconds.
Do it. Be 10 seconds. This is the reality of this show. Like, let him go and open the door. The poor dog is barking. There we go. There's Ian. I'd love to know who was at the door. I would love to know who was at the door.
Yeah, we'll find out, I'm sure. What I like about this, and I think we see in moments like this as well, is you realise the game of FIFA and how many people it brings together. He's back. Like, we've got Ian, obviously, who's
quick.
From the world of comedy. He's back.
That was
so quick.
Luckily, I've got a very expensive team, but not a very expensive house. So it didn't take me too long to get
Spencer, you finish off, though, because that's a good point you were making there.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, it's great having Ian on, and you remind yourself, sometimes we do our events, and it's very serious because it's high-level competition, and we've got the players and the pundits, but there's so many other people that from the world of, whatever it is, comedy, whatever, that play FIFA and a huge part of the community. And Ian is a great example of that because he streams a lot on his Twitch channel and stuff. So he's a real big part of it. So it's great to have him on.
Yeah, and also I think as well, things like games are such a great way to properly communicate with people. especially like men my age, sometimes it feels, Spencer might know this as well, sometimes if you phone a friend up for like a chat, they think you're mad. Whereas if you have a game of FIFA with somebody, don't you ever try to talk to another man about your emotions, but sometimes they look at you how like the dog looks at a telly when he sees another dog on the telly, just like confused. So with FIFA, you can sort of talk about things and have and communicate and, you know, open up and make yourself feel better, because it's important to chat, and you can do that whilst getting goal 3 with a prime icon moment on night. I'm
Ian,
so I went down one flight of stairs. This is so embarrassing.
Ian, I want to know a little bit more about what kind of FIFA gamer you are emotionally. Do you get really competitive, really deeply into it? Are you kind of a throw the remote kind of guy, or do you play it to relax?
I like to play it to relax until Weekend League, and then I am a FIFA rager who has got a loved one who shares a house with him. So when I lived alone, I used to do proper throwing controllers, and now I've got to do the sort of like bite your fist, like, because you can't let other people around you know. I'm also a big fan of my favourite thing in FIFA, and you'll watch this a lot in today's competition. For some reason, when you sit like this, you're terrible at FIFA. But the minute you sit like this, you're the greatest FIFA player that ever existed. Goal 3.
It's so true.
100.
Maybe that's what I need to try. Maybe that is what I need to try. And a
It's
question
just
from me
dance,
as well.
Brandon.
A quick question from me as well, Ian, before we leave you. Obviously, when you're recording your TV shows and stuff, I'm so impressed with how you seem to always work a hotel setup so well. I remember when you were out in Spain recently, and every night you were live on Twitch from what was his hotel setup. It was pretty remarkable.
Mate, you should have seen the look on the people in the hotel's face when I walked through the hotel lobby with 4 suitcases and then had to whip out a PC in the middle of the hotel lobby to make sure it wasn't broken and trying. And then also, when you've got a full camera and lighting set up in your hotel room, you know, this is a family-friendly stream, so I'm not going to tell you that the people in the hotel thought I might have been getting up to it, but it wasn't FIFA.
Ian, yesterday on the show, we were talking about our favourite FIFA memories, and in fact, we had a special bit of music for it. Favourite FIFA memories, and we had talked about a lot from the pro scene, but I'm curious as to know what your favourite FIFA moment is from when you've played the game.
It's got to be when you pack that first big card, isn't it? For me, it's when I packed Cristiano Ronaldo on my first ever stream off a MacBook.
Wow.
Yeah, with no idea what I was doing. Me and my friend Luke, who's iSports on Twitch actually, and we opened a 100k pack with coins. Out came a Cristiano Ronaldo FIFA 16 made. So
it
yeah,
doesn't get better from there. You should have retired after that one stream. You're never going to do better than that. Unbelievable.
Also, overall, that first tournament that Tex came in out of nowhere and won, and then everyone sort of was like, "Who's this boy?" And I feel like he break through into the mainstream media as well as sort of esports. So that first Tex win was probably quite a good one as well.
Ian, earlier on you were talking about your findings of sports psychology. I know that comedians, in a way, often, especially in their stand-up work, are looking for that affirmation. How are you dealing without having that at home now?
I do it through the form of bits, donations and subscriptions. Honestly, genuinely chatting to people on my chat and having people go, "Oh, we remember you from CBBC," or "We really enjoy Love Island," or "Why were you so angry on Taskmaster?" All those things, just chatting to creating this little community, and not just the people on my stream, like other streamers like Bates and 87 and Pieface and Myler and Spencer and all those lads. Like it's a lovely little world that like I sort of knew existed, but I was on this sort of outside of, and now I'm in it. I'm like genuinely loving it. So yeah, streaming basically is my sort of outlay, computer games and streaming.
Do you think any of this is adapted so that, you know, post-lockdown, when things go back to a version of normality that we can imagine, is there anything that you're going to change?
I'm never wearing trousers ever again.
Just going out in his pajamas.
I'm gonna look like Donald Duck all the time.
Love it. Love it. Ian, thank you so much. Really great chatting to you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and sorry that I had to answer the door. That was the least professional thing that's ever happened.
It's fine. This show is the least professional show ever to go out. We're cool with that.
I'll love you all. Twitch.tv/Ian Sterling. Hypex, #form. Bye.
I love him. That was perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. I liked him a lot. Guys, what did you think of his FIFA team? Like his most expensive team, Mbappe in there, of course.
I mean, Brandon wouldn't even get gold 1 with that team, so it's okay. I know that's what we were thinking.
He bought gold 1.
Yeah, you can.
I can't believe that team. He said the first player, and I was already blown away. He's like, yeah, prime icon moments R9. I'm like, well, that's worth more than my team altogether.
Just to
so that's one player.
Perspective. That's probably more expensive than all of our teams put together.
I don't know.
Dan, you've got a pretty good team, haven't you?
Yeah, I was going to say, don't try and lump yourself in with us normies.
Who's got the best team out of you 5?
Dan, definitely Dan. What have you got?
I don't know.
By miles.
I don't know.
Dan.
Spencer probably. I've done a lot of mid-icon
Dan.
upgrades.
Buckley's
I love
team,
it.
Eusebio.
My best 2 players are both. I both got in packs untradeable. I've got Van Dijk Team of the Year that I packed in an SBC pack, and I've got Prime Icon Moments Mateus that I packed in a free untradeable pack.
Middle cross
on the
is my
back
boy.
of-
I'll never get rid.
On the back of Ian talking about things, things that would change. Obviously, he's just going to go out in his pajamas all the time. But do you think we're going to see more celebrities sort of streaming post-lockdown and staying alongside the FIFA gamers?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, as soon as the kind of lockdown started, certain products you'd be surprised about started to get sold out, like webcams, for example. Everyone was getting themselves a webcam. And not just that, but I think even some streaming services have struggled with the amount of bandwidth they've needed because so many more people are streaming than normal. So certainly something that's been picked up. Whether people continue it, that weren't doing it before, when they can return to normality, who knows? But I think it's enlightened a lot of people to other career pathways, other ways of engaging with audiences. And yeah, certainly there are some positives to take from what's generally a very negative situation.
Thank you very, very much. Well, that's been part 1 of our show. We'll be back after the break with our first national friendly, Germany versus Poland, as Megabit takes on Milos, and much, much more after this short break. Hello and welcome to the FIFA eFriendly's home show. I hope you haven't missed it. We've been chatting to Ian Sterling earlier today. And also coming up, we're going to be discussing the GOAT debate with a twist. We are also going to be having part 2. There we go. I was waiting for it. on delay. We got it in the end. We're also going to be having part 2 of our quiz later, and we've got 2 friendlies for you. Before the friendlies begin, let's have a look back at all the other friendlies that have been happening over the last few days. If you haven't seen them, here's what you may have missed.
Well, we saw a number of eNation stay and play friendlies take place this week. The first one saw Norway take on Denmark. This is Denmark's fourth goal in a very impressive 4-1 win.
Fantastic game there, Brandon. We got a South American clash between Brazil and Colombia. Brazil running out 3-0 victors in the end. The pick of the bunch, that goal from Zizinho from a free kick.
And the action didn't stop there. We go back over to Europe where we saw Germany, very strong nation when it comes to FIFA esports, up against Austria. 5-2 victory it was there. You can see Coach Benedict Sauser on the screen, and Megabit putting the sword to Austria. That was to get the goal back.
Another interesting game here between two European countries. Russia beating Finland 4-0. This goal coming just on the stroke of the 90th minute. A fantastic strike from the edge of the box to make it 4.
We were able to see a handful of goals in this one. 8 goals in total between Malta and Portugal. This was Portugal's equaliser early on. This is Diogo Jota as well. Professional footballer in action of Wolverhampton Wanderers. Ronaldo getting the goal there, but unfortunately it all went downhill in the end, and Malta snaps that win 5-3.
Japan versus Malaysia here. Japan come out with a 4-3 victory in the end against Malaysia. They took a couple of early goals here. James Maddison playing for Leicester as Malaysia not in FIFA 20. 4-3 win in the end for Japan.
And probably our most comfortable win of these eNation stay and play friendlies. Israel, 8-0 win. This is Dabor as well. Professional footballer, another one of those that seems to be incredibly good on the sticks. 8 goals in total. Unfortunately, no way into this Romanian side.
USA going rampant here. 6-1 victory against Brazil. They're actually 1-0 down as well. They got a goal back there to make it 1 apiece, and then an absolute masterclass from the USA. Christian Pulisic getting the 6th. 68 minutes into that friendly.
And we thought that Israel game was one side of the fair. This one was as well. South Africa winning 8-2 against UAE. This is number 7 they scored, and by this point, it really was game over.
Comfortable victory there for South Africa, Brandon. Our final friendly for today. Colombia up against Chile. It was a 3-0 victory for Colombia. Juan Corradado down his right-hand side, whipped into Martinez, and a comfortable 3-0 victory for Colombia.
And of course, we also saw this game as well. Norway against Denmark, which finished 2-2 in the end. Norway were leading by 2-0, but Fredberg was able to fight back for a second time late on into the game. And you can see exactly what it meant to him as well.
Come on!
This was our second friendly game, Brandon, between Peru and Mexico. It was a 1-goal lead for Peru, but Mexico came back with a late resurgence. This was the winning goal. Lovely build-up on the edge of the box. Smashed it.
You can catch up with all of those games and more over on FIFA.gg. Now, coming up, we have Germany versus Poland as Megabit takes on Milos. Guys, what can we, or Spencer, I'll aim it at you first. What can we expect from that matchup?
Well, what I like about these games is even though they're friendlies, there's a lot on the line, right, in terms of national pride. Germany, Poland, there's a lot of history there. And I think there's a lot of players over the years in terms of footballers that could have played for Poland, that played for Germany. You're thinking of players like Miroslav Klose, Lucas Podolski, lots of these guys that had that kind of option. And there's a little bit of history there because of that. But also, in terms of international selection, the reason friendlies exist in real football is because it's the only opportunity out of competition that managers get to try players out. And we need more of these, in my opinion. I know some of the nations that are taking the kind of international side of FIFA seriously arrange their own, but now we've got this going on. I think it's a really good option. So if I was Germany or Poland, I'd expect to try and put on a strong performance as possible so I get further chances to represent my nation.
A real opportunity to show off some skills as well. Brandon, picking up on what Spencer said at the beginning there, do you find that any players change their style somewhat when they're playing in the national team shirt?
I definitely say so. It depends as well. You've always got to remember that we are playing head-to-head, not FIFA Ultimate Team. So if you do dig deep, there are obviously slight differences there in how fast the game is and the players that you can use. But at the end of the day, you are representing your nation. It's a one-legged game of FIFA, and if you have been, chosen out of your nation to play for your country, you have to go and deliver. As Spencer said, like if people aren't going to perform, if Megabit isn't going to perform year after year, he's going to be dropped, and someone else will be coming after that shirt to wear.
So before we get into this game, we do have a non-serious challenge for you. Who's commentating on this one?
That'll be me and Mark, I think. We are in.
You and Mark.
We're
for the first
So we want, amazing. So we want you to slide in a word into your commentary, make it as casual and natural as possible. Mark, I'm going to give you the word marshmallow. How do you feel about that?
Not a problem.
That's easy.
Good.
Easy.
Spencer,
Easy.
have you got a word for Dan?
Yeah, easy one, mate. This will be walk in the park. It's just a small one. It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, please.
Brilliant. I can't even say that, but I'll give it a go.
Okay,
Thanks,
go.
mate.
I'll swap if you want, Dan.
No,
Do you want
that's
marshmallow?
right.
Are you
No,
good?
that's
Are you
all right.
good? You good?
I'll
All right.
take it.
Okay, look out for those words in our commentary today. It's Germany versus Poland, Megabit versus Miloš, coming up now.
Thank you, Layla. And it is time for our first friendly of the day. Dan Gaskin, good luck with your challenge, of course, Megabit versus Miloš. And yeah, Dan, as Spencer was saying, quite a lot of history between these two teams. As you say, players going to play for one country over the other. And I think Brandon made a great point as well. Although, we're having quite a lot of fun on this show, there is a real serious element to these friendlies. The availability of the national shirt is something that is fiercely contested for. So a result in these friendlies is certainly going to help these players hold on to the shirt.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of speculation around the eNations this year and who was going to be selected for what team, and certain countries were having like boot camp lands and all of this different selection possibility. And this is a fantastic chance now to demonstrate what you're made of. We've got two players who have been very successful within their country. I mean, Megabit's won various German titles, and Miloš has also done the same, Polish titles as well, a few first and second places since like FIFA 15. So he's been around the block, even though he might not be as famous as Megabit as it were. He's definitely a very strong Polish player, and he'll want to prove a point today.
I think it's a great point. I think both players are going to want to prove a point, as you say. And you just think about, for example, we're talking about competition for places. We talk about national squads and how everyone, like Spencer's mentioned in the friendlies, everyone wants to play for England. If they're English, play for Germany. Let's think about how many players qualify from Germany for events throughout the year. They usually have the highest, I would say, percentage of players that represented by one nation at a single tournament. So you can tell that, there's a lot of competition there, especially for someone like Megabit. I know they have a squad at the moment. Mo Alba, current world champion, of course. But that must be one of the most coveted shirts in all of the national teams.
Absolutely. I think that when you have the world champion as part of your nation, then there's always going to be that one spot that, in theory, should be taken. Because why wouldn't you take the world champion? Even though Mo Alba hasn't had the best of seasons in FIFA 20, and I think even he would be honest with that, you're still going to want to put that kind of king in your lineup. You can say, well, we've got the world champion. Why wouldn't we put him there? For example, like eNations and France, the fact we had Maestro and Dax win that, and then Dax wasn't given that spot, was bizarre to me, and I'm really surprised. Obviously, now with the COVID-19 stuff, we've got the situation where eNations hasn't yet happened, and we don't know what will happen with it. But maybe there's a possibility that French squad will get revisited, and Dax might be able to potentially get on that. I'd love to see him there, because I think it's weird not to have a previous champion. But, form is everything, and if they think that form isn't going to be the situation, then maybe that's not right for them.
There's a real example of chemistry and how important that is in the eNations as well. Obviously, you have two players that particular competition, and Dax and Maestro, very different in the way that they played the game, but you really felt like maybe Dax had influenced Maestro quite a lot, and then the hype of Maestro was really kind of forcing Dax to up his game as well. So there's that team element as well, which I kind of think goes a little bit unnoticed sometimes.
Which is what is different about these friendlies as well, because the majority of the time we see kind of national tournaments, it is 2v2. But usually the 2v2 tournaments have 1v1 games, then another 1v1 game, and then you mesh the 2v2. There's a lot of pressure that gets put on you in those 1v1 matchups. Like, if you don't win that 1v1, you have to then rely on your teammate to be able to bring you through, and then you get into the 2v2, which a lot of people aren't usually very practiced in as well. So you have to get practice. You have to make sure these friendlies are actually taken seriously, because if you just throw it away and say, all right, whatever, like, it doesn't matter if I win or lose because it's just a friendly. No, that is a result that will go down. Like, FIFA Wikipedia or whatever is going to have it there as Poland beating Germany or Germany beating Poland. It's going to be written down in history books. We may be looking back in FIFA 23 and say, oh, well, the last time Poland and Germany faced each other in an international matchup, it was a 2-1 victory to Germany. Like, these are things you have to be considering.
So let's talk about this game. We're going to get into it as quickly as possible. Apologies for the little delay to everyone. And as I say that, it's almost like the magic wand was waved and we are into the game. Dan, what are your predictions for this one? Who do you favour, Milos or Megabit?
Well, being conscious that they can probably both hear me, I will probably have to go for Megabit purely on his history and what he has achieved across the last few years. We haven't seen too much of Milos throughout FIFA 20. He had a relatively successful FIFA 19, but of course the game does change year by year. Play styles are going to be very important, and I think Megabit just has a little bit more experience with tournament play this year.
So you can see Milos at the moment in his player cam. Megabit in his as well, holding very still, which is always good to see. Lovely control over his own body, but as I should mention as well, like was brought up just before, all these friendlies are played on the 85 rated mode, as there is potentially a chance early on. Not the normal FIFA Ultimate Team that we're used to seeing a lot of these players perform and do their thing on, but speaking of doing their thing, Milos is in pretty early here for Poland. Opportunity maybe to look for a cutback or a shot, but the ball roll is going to create space, but the pass across goal just couldn't find a target there, Dan.
You can see the difference in speed between like Ultimate Team and the head-to-head 85 rated mode that we are seeing the players go up against each other. It means that you've got a little bit more time to kind of decide where you want to go when you're in the box. The players aren't going to be as good defensively, but they're also not going to be as good offensively either. So it almost comes down to a little bit more kind of methodical style of play rather than going for any kind of rash attacks or just like quick shots from outside the box. And I think that probably favours both players in this instance from what I've seen of them in the history of FIFA. They're both very build-up style kind of players. They're more than happy to play the ball around the midfield of the park, bide their time, and then push when it's necessary.
Apart from that one opportunity maybe for Poland to break the deadlock here in our first friendly of the day. Not really much to report. No shots on target for the goalkeeper to be troubled by. Zielinski goes all the way back to the centre-back now. And this is what you were talking about, Dan. That kind of measured build-up approach that maybe you have to take a little bit more in the 85 rated mode without having the guarantee of certain players having X skill moves, for example. All players in this mode are capped at 3-star skill moves. So you have to be a little bit more thoughtful with how you're getting the ball towards goal.
It's all about the build-up. It's all about the formations as well. They're going to play a huge part. We saw yesterday between Denmark and Norway, a diamond formation being preferred, attackers being played on the wings, as wing-backs, purely for their pace rather than their defensive ability, because you're not going to be able to rely on those players that have 99 pace once you apply a chemistry style in Ultimate Team. So you need to find a different way to get through, and maybe a chance here as Toni Kroos does lay it off. Decent save by the goalkeeper, though. First real chance for Megabit.
Yeah, Szczesny with the save there, and it will be a corner, like you say, to Germany. Hector now back to Toni Kroos, just exchanging some passes on the edge of the box. And now the ball fired in here to Timo Werner, and he's going to get a little bit fortunate here. Megabit steals it off the toe of the defender, and Germany take the lead here in the 23rd minute of the game.
Sometimes fortune does favour the brave. You always say it, Mark. You've got to get the ball in the mixer to give yourself any sort of chance. Played the ball, hoped that the attacker was going to be able to just stretch his legs past the defender. Even though the defender got there first, sometimes they can't get it away from their feet. I think Milos was desperately trying to just hoof that one up the pitch, but unfortunately it doesn't work out for him on this occasion. As you could get a quick glimpse there of the formation of Megabit, just playing a standard 4-4-2. So not the meta 4-2-3-1 that we might typically see in Ultimate Team. We do see a few people going for the 4-4-2 in tournaments, but 4-2-3-1 certainly has been the most popular over the last couple of years. But an early lead for Megabit, I think Milos is going to have to come from behind.
So here's Krychowiak going forward now, and maybe straight from the restart, it's going to be Poland and Lewandowski who can break through, but Jonathan Tah stood strong in the tackle. Now Goretzka goes wide as Julian Brandt is going to pick the ball up, and a beautiful switch of play here. Onto the ex-Arsenal man, now at Bayern Munich, of course, Serge Gnabry.
I do think the beauty of seeing this mode and seeing the national teams being played is seeing some like new players being used, even though they might not have the ratings. As that one smashed into the top right-hand corner. It doesn't matter about ratings. That is going to be 2-0 to Megabit. But we're seeing new faces, new players that aren't used at these tournaments. And you and I, Mark, we're used to saying like your Van Dijks and all of that jazz. But now we get to explore different names of football. And like you said, Gnabry and his success recently. And these are players that maybe we'll see kind of flourish in Ultimate Team over the next few years.
Well, Poland need a response here, and Milos needs a goal just to kind of peg things back a little bit here for Poland. Zielinski now, great ball into Lewandowski. There's one thing you can guarantee, is when Robert Lewandowski is left unmarked in the middle of the box like that, he is not going to miss the target. That was the goal that Poland needed. 2-1 now.
Yeah, just a small, subtle celebration from Milos as well. He's not wanting to be overly enthusiastic about it, wants to stay quiet, because if you say it loud enough, you'll always sound precocious, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Wonderfully done. That's all I'm going to mention on that. Well, here's Timo Werner. Little dink over the top. The defence has just split apart there. Toni Kroos, just after Poland had got back into the game, Megabit answers back. 3-1 now. And a 2-goal lead restored. It was looking a little bit soft a minute ago when Poland scored. A little bit like a marshmallow, but now they've restored that 2-goal advantage.
And the 2-goal advantage is so important in FIFA as well. We will say it time and time again. Just giving yourself that little bit of cushion, that room for error. In case you make that one mistake, that one slip up, the goalkeeper throws it to the wrong man. And I would say in FIFA 20 in particular, a 2-goal cushion is more secure than it was in FIFA 19. But in the 85 rated mode, there is always going to be that possibility of that one little ball going wide, or maybe just that little mistake from a defender. Ideally, I would say 3-goal cushion is going to be your kind of go-to scoreline to really think you're in control of the game.
Megabit might have just found another opening here. Tries to take the shot. First time! Falls back to Timo Werner. And he can only strike the upright there as the goalkeeper was left floundering. And it's near post, and Megabit looking really dangerous now moving forward. Goretzka and Kroos interchanging passes, but just couldn't find that ball through. So the man at the top of the pitch is Jonathan Tah, just steps in and picks the ball back up, and possession again turned over to the German here.
Maybe a chance here to make it 4, but it's going to be pulled back by the referee. It's going to be offside. But Megabit just looks equally as threatening in this 85 rated mode as he has done in Ultimate Team over the years. Has a fantastic vision for the game, knows exactly what he wants to do when he's building up. Very good at seeking through balls and passes and just linking up play between his players.
So there is the half-time whistle then. At the end of the first half, Germany do lead a 3-1 over Poland. You have to say, I've kind of missed watching a lot of Megabit this year. We haven't had the opportunity to see him as much as we normally would in latter rounds of tournaments. And, you know, he mentioned it yesterday that, you know, the style of game may be not suited to him, but it's just a reminder of the attacking prowess that the German has, how good he is going forward and how good he is at converting chances. And for Poland now, they're kind of singing that a little bit themselves. Milos has got a lot of work to do in the second half.
I think this 85 rated mode really suits Megabit, to be honest. And whilst it might not be the go-to competitive mode at the moment, like, we never know what might happen with tournaments in the future. So it's always worth practicing these different modes. And there is always going to be some similarities that cross over from Ultimate Team into 85 rated mode as well. Like, your natural FIFA ability and how you read the game and how you play the game is always going to transition to both. And we can see that with Megabit because he's just so good going forward.
The second half is underway. If you're just joining us, you can see the scoreline in the top left-hand side of your screen as well. 3-1 to Germany after the first half. And the interesting thing for me is, having played so much Ultimate Team and watched so much Ultimate Team with the tournaments we've had down, you kind of expect to see certain traits from certain players. And I'm seeing Toni Kroos picking the ball up and just accelerating into space, which is something that you just can't do with these foot item in Ultimate Team.
It just makes something a little bit different, doesn't it? It might not be the natural way that those players play, but it seems like it's a very balanced style for this friendly format. Maybe a chance for Poland. Lewandowski does fire one back. That is one hell of a save. to keep this at 3-1. Historically, Mark, between these two teams, Poland have only ever won one game in the history of Germany versus Poland in real football. That was in 2014. They beat Germany 2-0 in the European Championship. But other than that, it's been 13 victories for Germany and 7 draws. So hasn't gone too favourable for Poland. And at the moment, it looks like it's going to be in favour of Germany yet again, unless we see a big second half from Milos here.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of international teams who would be hungry for wins over the Germans. Fantastic footballing nation, as we know, and a fantastic FIFA nation, as we also know. We've talked about it a little bit before. Referee's going to let this one just run on here as Piatek's going to pick the ball up, and Lewandowski now plays the ball off. Zielinski steps forward from centre midfield, building here for Milos. Can he break down Megabit, though? That's the question. Piatek, beautiful little step over, and again, Jonathan Tah steps in at just the right second to win the ball, just as things were looking dangerous.
You do have to get creative with the skill moves, because all the players only have 3-star skills. It means you're not going to be able to do maybe skill moves that you're used to using when going forward playing FIFA Ultimate Team. Of course, you might be watching, you might be saying, well, I don't play Ultimate Team, I'm a head-to-head player, I'm used to using certain skill moves. These players are playing competitively in Ultimate Team week in, week out, or weekend in, weekend out, depending on where they're going to be. But honestly, the 3-star skills changes everything, and you can see how just a simple step over almost was able to get him through goal. But you can see the formations being changed by both players here. Just getting some fresh legs onto the pitch, some substitutions, very important in any FIFA mode to ensure that you're just keeping fresh legs on the pitch. Stamina is a big thing. You don't want your defenders just being burst by some pacey attackers that have just come onto the pitch.
One thing we should mention, we're talking about skill moves a lot in 85 rated. The weak foot does scale up from Ultimate Team and head-to-head, so they'll still have that in their locker. So someone like Kai Havertz is certainly going to be dangerous when he gets inside the box. Has just been brought on here by Germany, and Megabit probably going to be looking to use that to try and close this game out. 64 minutes on the clock as he flies in a beautiful ball there to Marco Reus. Toni Kroos again turning back, and he's going to be dropped, but I think the referee's going to let that play, and Toni Kroos is angry about that, tries to snap in and win the ball back almost immediately. But for Milos and Poland, chance maybe on the break here, Dan.
Definitely a chance on the break. Plenty of red shirts flowing forward if Lewandowski is onside, which he is. He's going to play this one back out onto the edge of the box. Now there's plenty of German shirts to contest this one, and Emre Can will step in and put that attack to bed. Very comfortable in the end. What looked like a very promising attack, but you can see how quickly you can get players back in FIFA and put bodies in the way. Szczesny thankfully punches that one away.
Yeah, a little bit scary there from Szczesny, more of his Arsenal days than his move to Italy, where he's obviously had great success. I say that as an Arsenal fan. Zielinski now goes out wide once again. And you have to say, second half, Milos really has grown into this game. The question is, can he break down Megabit's defence? Can he find a way through to give himself a chance of finding an equaliser? As there's an overlap here, he tries to drive it across goal. And Schultz will cut it out. The pressure's still on here, as Poland look to find a little bit of space here, as Lewandowski turns back on flat right foot, but can't find a penetrating ball into the box.
Megabit is rushing the ball out of defence, though, which is going to give Milos a chance back in this game. Megabit keen to maybe show what he's made of, go for a fourth, maybe even a fifth here. But if he's not careful, one of those balls could go wayward, and then suddenly Milos could be just a goal in it. So maybe just a little bit more patient play from Megabit as we get to the latter stages of this game now, just to close out this friendly, and what would be a very comfortable win for him. I think that Milos hasn't really been able to create the chances he would have liked. He's played a couple of balls too quickly up the pitch, and Megabit has been there to step in with the likes of Tart. Megabit now looking for a fourth, but Toni Kroos passes it into the defence of Poland. It's got to be a goal from this attack, I feel, Mark.
I have to agree. Time is against Poland here. Megabit, maybe with a goal here, would really close things out, but interception in midfield has at least turned possession over here to Poland and Milos. Great ball into space here as Piatek lays the ball back here as Lewandowski goes around the goalkeeper. Surely a goal here for Robert Lewandowski. And Poland And Milos, fronted by the incredible striker Robert Lewandowski's double, are now back in this game. 1 goal the difference between the two squads.
A skip of the celebration as well. No nonsense there. No time for celebrating. Just wants to get straight back into things. But this could be Megabit putting the nail in the coffin. And one hell of a strike as well from Timo Werner. 4-2. Surely signed and delivered by this point. It was a great comeback, a great fight back from Milos to get that second goal, but Megabit just showing that he is such an incredible player going forward.
2 goals from the restart after Milos has managed to find his way back into the game, so you might feel a little bit hard done by that. Well, we know in FIFA, you've got to be concentrating at all times. You've got to make the most of every single situation, and Megabit has just done that. Glick, though, steps in. 89 minutes on the clock here. Needs a goal. And for Megabit to make a mistake, but Hector steps in. And now maybe you can see Timo Werner spinning in behind. Marco Reus is making a run outside of him as well. A shutdown there by Milos, but with stoppage time almost up here, it looks like it will be a win in the friendly. Going to Germany. Werner takes his time, plays it back, and I mean, what a block that was to keep the scoreline respectable. Germany, though, will take home the win here in the friendly. 4-2, Dan. An impressive performance from the ever-impressive Megabit.
Yeah, Germany, who are very successful on the international scene in real-life football, they're showing what they're made of in the FIFA world as well. And quite rightly, that Megabit, a true legend in the German FIFA scene, he's at the helm there. I'd like to see what he can do throughout, I want to say throughout the rest of the season, but I guess we don't know what's happening. But just the future of FIFA in general, I think Megabit is a great character. He's got an amazing personality. We heard his interview yesterday, and like he was just very humble about everything. But on the same note, I think that Milos played a good game there. Like he got back into it after that second goal. I was thinking, all right, we've got a real game on our hands here. But unfortunately, Megabit was just too good going forward.
Well, that's going to do it all from our first friendly of the day. 4-2 to Germany was the final result. Megabit representing Germany taking home the win over Milos. But for now, that's going to do it all from the first game. Bring Layla and everyone else back into the conversation.
Great game. Megabit looking dangerous from the off there, Spencer. Let's take a look at the highlights. Let's take a look at the goals. And Spencer, if you could kindly walk us through.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with what Dan Gaskin was saying about this game mode kind of suiting Megabit's approach play on the edge of the box. He just looks so dangerous with the Germans here. You see on the ball with Hector to Cruz, edge of the box with Timo Werner, who was a star for him throughout. A little bit fortunate maybe that he was able to dispossess Polish defender in his own box. And once he got the ball there, he was never going to miss from that sort of range. That was 1-0 to Megabit. 27th minute here, link up down the right side with Germany. Goretzka into Waldschmidt. Cruz, great driven pass into Werner. And using Waldschmidt quite a lot on the edge of the box there. Again, another goal for the German there. 2-0 to Megabit. Poland was struggling at this point, but they found an answer. Lewandowski, of course, crucial to anything good in the attacking sense for Poland, both virtually and in real life, of course. Grzycki here. Zielinski, nice football, quick passing. That was the way he was able to cut through the German defence for the first time. So made it 2-1, made it a bit more interesting. Goretzka coming through again, though, for Megabit for the middle of the park. Cruz, another good through ball. He's really putting the strings for the Germans. Werner into Cruz. Great snapshot finish there. Not always in the goals, Cruz, but he can hit them. You need him to. 3-1 to the Germans. Megabit. Milos trying to get back in it here with Poland. You see a lot more intricate passing on the edge of the box and in the attacking third on the 85 head-to-head game mode. I thought maybe the German defender on the line there might have stopped that one, but it was a second goal for Poland, so 3-2. We thought maybe we'd see a dramatic finish, but Megabit went straight up the other end. Timo Werner near post, weak foot, fantastic finish, gets his goal, and 4-2 to Megabit to Germany.
Absolutely brilliant game. You can watch that game and more, any that you've missed over the weekend and the ones coming up over on FIFA.gg. We've got one more friendly coming up later on as Spain takes on Portugal. We've got Alfonso Ramos versus Francisco Cruz. That'll be coming up later on today. So, guys, firstly, I heard Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious brilliantly slid in with the full line of the song. Well done, Dan. Did Marshmallow happen? I didn't catch it.
course it did. Of course it did. See,
Really?
it was so well
Did you-
disguised. It was just like slipped in. You didn't even notice it. Or it's because I speak so much nonsense normally when I'm commentating. It's one of the two. But it was in there. I promise you. I promise you.
Did anybody else hear Marshmallow?
I didn't. Didn't
I
I?
To be
Yeah.
fair, I didn't even hear it, and I'm commentating with him, so he's done well
Yeah.
there if he's put it in.
I did hear it.
Controversial.
You did
I think
hear
it might be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Richard
Like one of
Buckley.
them.
Thank you. Wait,
Yeah,
Rich,
Spencer, I'm
Richard
gonna-
said he heard it.
Spence, I'm going to leave it with you and your wonderful effects machine to tell us who is the winner of the challenge for the commentators today, please.
It could have been. Apparently, Marshmallow was in there, but I think due to this man's delivery, we're going to give it to this man.
And that's the thing, Mark. How about we talk about the tournament as a whole?
Can you explain that line to me, Dan?
Yeah.
So-
explain it.
Basically, whenever me and Mark are chatting for a long period of time, if there's any sort of delay, Mark's go-to conversation starter is, let's talk about the tournament as a whole.
That's almost true. That's almost true. What it is when I've run out of everything else to talk about, and I just go, so Dan, talk to me about anything. Basically, that's what I'm saying, and hopefully that he's got it. So yeah, that's that.
Well,
Brandon,
if Mark
Rich,
had won, we'd have heard this, by the way, if Mark had won.
Some excellent foo FIFA there.
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
So
FIFA. Brandon, Rich, do you guys have a go-to if you've run out of anything to say?
Oh.
To be honest,
I mean, sometimes. I mean, we always. I mean, there's loads of things that commentators say, but I can tell sometimes Rich will say something, I'll be in a different world, and I'll just repeat the exact same thing. I mean, that normally happens a few times every game.
sometimes I'll just go, well, Brandon, I do have a question for you. And then I'll just think of something off the top of my head.
Just hope
You've got
that the
some-
words spill out.
It's quite funny that when Layla asked if you got one, your first thing you said, Richard, was to be honest, because I think the thing you always go, Brandon, in all honesty, you always say, in all honesty.
Right. Well,
What
we're
about
going
this
to have
one?
a couple of debates now. I don't know how this is going to go down because I can just imagine you five really getting hot-headed over this. First, though, before we hit our goat with a twist debate, let's take a look at the standings. Yep. Let's take a look at the standings and as they stand currently, and have a little chat about the future of FIFA and esports, and have a little chat about who do we think is going to be most affected by the fact that currently it is suspended. So obviously Tech's in number one place there, and I really want you guys to talk to me about specifically how these players are going to feel right now that the season has been suspended, and what options they have moving forward, and who's going to be most affected. Spencer, let's start with you.
If you look at the leaderboard right there, obviously Tex is no surprise. This time last year, he had an even bigger lead, I think. But he is top man on Xbox again, and he's got a sizable lead. It's like 1,700 points between him and the next player, or next two players, which is Enrasic and Emes Tassari. So you could argue he's got the biggest complaint there in the sense that not only is he top, but also he's probably got that kind of monkey on his back that he didn't win the big one last year. And that's the kind of only thing that's eluded him so far. So maybe that's his motivation this year, obviously joining a new team in Fnatic. He wanted to get that done, to get that W towards the end of the year, the big one at the FEWC. And of course, all we know right now is that play is suspended. But we don't know if that's going to be a chance that's given to him. So there's lots of guys there. Anyone in the top 16 right now could argue, if we don't get to do these events, I've been unlucky. But then equally, the guys just outside the top 16 have the same issue because they are going to miss events potentially that they would have got themselves into the top 16 with. So it's not ideal for anyone. I think the most important thing is that it's parity for all and that everyone's in the same boat, which they are.
Let's take a look at the PlayStation rankings as well. And Dan, if you walk me through here, who's impressed you most and how do you think it will affect these rankings?
Crazy had a insane start to the season. However, then after a few patches to the game, he kind of dipped off a little bit. And that's why you start to see him getting caught up by the likes of Zinio and #Tom. Tom, in general, has impressed me thoroughly throughout this season, not only for his FIFA ability, but how he's changed personality-wise and how camera-friendly he's become. I'm not saying he wasn't before, but he seems to have learned a lot, whether it's from his #teammates or whether it's just from him growing as an individual himself. I think that he is really turning into a superstar of the scene. I think realistically, the people who are most hurt with all of this are those who were qualified for the tournaments that were about to take place and won't be getting those points from them. They're going to be the people who are saying like, okay, well, I would have been going to X country and playing this for the amount of points. And they're going to be saying, well, I didn't get the chance to do so. So they're going to be kind of kicking themselves a little bit, but there's nothing they can do. Everyone is in the same situation. No one knew this was going to happen, but we can only be impressed with what people did so far. And those who are in the top 16 for me have been the best players so far. And we'll see what happens, I guess.
Moaba currently holding the trophy. He is in 29th place and could very well hold it for longer than expected. Mark?
I mean, it's a possibility. We don't know, do we? At the moment, if you want to go by the top 16 and who's going to potentially qualify for the E-World Cup if it was to happen and we stay by this, Moaba's not going to be there. And it's as simple as that. He hasn't had a great season by his own standards. Those standards, of course, being a world champion standards. But 29th place with 800 points, with the amount of points that have been available so far this year. You compare that to Tex over on the Xbox, who had over 5,000 points. I mean, Moaba can't really argue, that he should be one of those players who should be qualifying for the World Cup. It just hasn't been his year so far.
Brandon, your thoughts on the standings so far and how the players must be feeling about the options going forward, what options there could be?
Yeah, I'm sure there won't be any complaints, I'd say, from the handful of South Americans that have been dominating so far this year. If you look at technically the top 16 on Xbox, top 16 on PlayStation, I think 9 out of that 32 are South America, and that was kind of the main talking point, wasn't it, at the beginning of the year? The first few FUT Champions Cups was South American dominance, and as Mark was saying as well, we didn't see Moaba much. We saw him at a few events, but we've had 4 majors, or you should say 5 majors, so to speak, 4 FUT Champions Cups and an E-Club World Cup, a few league, of course, qualifiers in there as well. But I think everyone's just left in the dark at the moment. But we are in the situation where we are. Health has to come first, and nobody knows what to do. No one knows what we should do. But those like Tex and those like Clash Crazy have had a fantastic start to the year. And I think we knew by December that they'd already be at the grand finals if there was a grand final.
So we can do stay home, stay safe. Go ahead, Richard. Go on.
I disagree a little bit with that, because if I was one of those South American players, I'd be absolutely fuming. This is my year. I've come out and I've dominated the scene. I've played really well, and potentially I'm going to get nothing for it. If I'm a Mo Alba, if I'm Nicholas at 24th, 29th, Ajax Danny at 61st, if anything, I'm like, okay, let's null and void this season. We can go again next season. So if I were one of them players like Clash Crazy, who has come out guaranteed a grand final spot and potentially gets nothing for it, I'd be one of those most annoyed.
Well, I think it's important to jump in on that one, Richard, because they're not getting nothing for it, because there's been prize money every event, and let's not forget that. Of course, it's about building towards the climax of the season, which is the FEWC, and everyone wants to win that. But it is important to look at the tournaments as their own, events as well, and there is prize money at them. So I completely agree with anyone that's feeling a little bit sorry for themselves and with the effort they've put in. But I think it's important to remember that there has been stuff for it. I also think, to jump on something that Dan said as well, to give you a little anecdote that I probably wouldn't be able to tell in a normal FIFA tournament situation, but I think now's a great time. You talked about #Tom and how impressed you've been with him. And obviously I've had a close relationship with him this year #. And one anecdote I can tell you about Tom, which I think really shows you the measure of the man, because he's someone I'm a big fan of, and I've worked with a lot of FIFA pros, and I think he's right up there with any of them in terms of professionalism. Right at the start of the year, we were doing one of the qualifiers. And as you know, everyone qualifies from their own locations. We have a #HQ. Tom's in the HQ. And for some reason, we still don't know why, we're having some serious connection issues with a player in Spain he was trying to connect with. And everyone's internet was fine. It just wasn't working. We couldn't quite figure it out. Went through all the appropriate channels to try and figure it out. And there basically was an amount of time we had to get the game played by. We couldn't make it work. So we just thought, let's just try somewhere else. And I lived not too far from the HQ. We got Tom back to my house, set him up on my console. He obviously has to get logged in, he has to get comfortable. But, you guys know how important the gaming setup is to these pros, right? And how used to their setup they are. He ends up playing his qualifier on this crazy lounge chair I've got on a 50-inch TV, which I know sounds good, but all pros know you play on tiny monitors, right? He's doing it on a different controller to usual. Yeah, everything that you could change was different, right? And at that point, he'd won every single game, I think. Anyway, long story short, he ended up losing that game, I think 3-1. It was tight. It was just a completely different scenario. And it's not about him winning the game, because he didn't win the game, but it's about his reaction to it. I know so many people in the scene who've been put in that situation, would just throw their toys out the pram and be like, I've been hard done by here. I've had it all against me. His reaction to it was unbelievable. I think within 20 minutes of it, and he finds out he can't qualify for the event as a result of that game, sends a tweet out going, tough weekend for me, but we learned from it. And I'm like, What do you even learn from that? He'd done nothing wrong, and he'd been put in that situation. That was the moment I realised this guy's a cut above. Yeah, top lad.
Yeah, so many things you could have blamed. Awesome. Right, we are going to discuss now our GOAT debate with a twist.
Yeah.
Cue the GOAT. Yeah. A GOAT debate with a twist. So the twist is we want to discuss the greatest of all time duos, the greatest of all time pairings. Those of you at home, we want to hear your thoughts as well. You can get in touch via the hashtag, just hashtag World Cup at home. So we want to know your greatest duos. Richard, let's start with you.
See, I was going to start. I thought about it, and then I was thinking France, but I'm going to go Saudi Arabia, and I'm going to say Desari and Al-Shiri. Just a simple fact, 2 world champions, different eras. In my opinion, Desari is the individual best player of all time, grand finalist, winner, lost in the grand final the year after, won multiple titles over multiple years. So I'm going to go with Desari and Al-Shiri as my best duo.
Spencer, I heard a lovely sound effect from your actual mouth that time. What were your thoughts on his duo, and who would yours be?
I think that's a great team that Buckley's put forward. And listen, there's only a few nations that can actually field. We're talking about hypothetical duos because these guys are from different eras, but there's only a few nations that can put together a duo that have won championships each, world championships. There's not many. My team haven't. I'm going to go with my country. I'm going to say England, and I'm going to say 2 players who, one of which has won a world championship, which is Gorilla, one of which has not won one, but which is Tex. And for me, whilst you cannot argue with Buckley's logic there about them at the top of their game, and Desari probably came closest than anyone to winning back-to-back titles, I think if you take prime Spencer Ealing, a.k.a. Gorilla, prime Donovan Hunt, a.k.a. Tex, at their peak of their powers, I've never seen anyone play FIFA as good as those 2 players, and I still maintain that at the peak of their powers. So if you put prime moments Gorilla with prime moments Tex, no one's beaten them. That's the best team in FIFA all time, in my opinion.
You could still get 2 English world champions though. Chris Bullard, of course, was a world champion as well. If you wanted to go down the 2 world champions route, I mean, I'll throw a spanner in the works, and I'll give you Spain, Alfonso Ramos, 2-time E-World Cup winner, and then I'll put him with JRA Lion, just because JRA Lion is probably the most beautiful man that is in FIFA esports. And he's pretty good at FIFA as well. Combine the 2, it's like it's like a big
That's
megazord.
the noise he makes when he walks through a door.
Does JRA and Ramos beat Tex and Gorilla? Mark?
Absolutely not.
In a fashion show,
I mean, that's very true. I mean, I don't think they do. I mean, the thing for me is I thought about this, and I'm stuck between Saudi Arabia, like Buckley said, same 2 players, for the reason also that initial World Championship inspired the likes of Desari and the Nation and all those players to pick up. We probably wouldn't have one without the other. But then I was thinking, like Spencer said, who is the best and what is the highest level I've ever seen people play FIFA at? I would put Desari into that category. I throw back to finals performances where he smashed the likes of Maestro, who has had like this incredible tournament. He gets to a final and Desari just wipes the floor with him. And it's like, wow, this guy is... when he's on form, he is untouchable. But the best individual games of FIFA that I've seen have come, in my opinion, from Gorilla, and they have come from Tex. And I think for me, I have to go with that just because of the fact, like you say, at the very, very height of their game, the best they've ever played, I don't think there's many people who could beat them in their, and I don't want to say respective eras as well for Gorilla, because you look at the standings there, he's still incredibly high up the table in FIFA 20. But peak FIFA 15, 16, that was, FIFA 17, Gorilla was untouchable at times. And I think you have to give a lot of credit to that, which kind of gets stuck in the modern day a lot. But Gorilla at that time was unreal. And I think Tech's record-breaking season with 7 trophies last year, you can't argue with that.
So in choosing our teams, I think we need to clarify, maybe Spencer, you can help me out with this, whether we're going to go with the player in their prime or the player overall, because consistency is kind of key then, right?
Well, that's part of the whole GOAT debate, right? The whole GOAT debate is about consistency or one-off performance. And I think to be a GOAT, you have to be consistent. Yeah, greatest of all time has to be about what you've done over an era, for sure. I think in this suggestion, Guerrilla and Tex have both been very good over a period of games. But I think if we're talking about the best duo, you're talking about maybe the best possible partnership, theoretical, if you could take people from different times to put into one event. If that's what we're talking about, I think consistency maybe is less important in this debate.
Brandon, how do you define GOAT and who's your duo?
Ooh, to be honest, yeah, I mean, it's at this point I've got to try and mix up a little bit. I think first and foremost, in any of these duos, you have to have a world champion in there, someone that has won a world championship, because you can win a number of majors, and of course that's a fantastic achievement in the day and age we're in now. And we've got 6 FUT Champions Cups and FIFA majors alongside it, and what Tex has been able to do. And Mark's talking about the years of Guerrilla's dominance, but then you also got to look at Bruce Granick as well. Before the times of Ultimate Team and it was head to head, we have to look at Bruce Granick. Him and Alfonso Ramos, only players that have been able to win 2 FIWC, FEWC trophies. And the question is, who do you put with Bruce Granick in that French team? You go Dax, do you go Maestro, or do you go or at the time Vitality Rocky? Won the first so-called FUT Champions Cup at the time, the FUT Championship, when EA really started to get involved in FIFA esports as well. So if we're going off like that, that one peak performance, I'd say Rocky and Bruce Granick for me.
Love it. Right. Well, thank you very much for that little chat, guys. We'll be talking more after the break, and we've got match 2, Spain, Portugal, coming up in just 3 minutes. Welcome back to the FIFA eFriendlies home show. I'm here with Spencer, Dan, Mark, Brandon and Rich. If you've just joined us, you may have missed match 1, which is our friendly between Germany and Poland, where Megabit beat Miloš 4-2. We do have another game coming up for you shortly, though. Spain versus Portugal, as Alfonso Ramos takes on Francisco Cruz. I'm waking up. Right, guys, thank you for the chat earlier regarding GOAT and duos. I know that's going to create a lot of debate online. If anyone online wants to join us, the hashtag is World Cup at Home. Match 2 now, Spain versus Portugal. We mentioned some legends. You mentioned Ramos in our chat there. What can we expect from this match? Mark, tell us. Oh, we can't hear you, Mark. Bear with us 1 second. We're going to fiddle with your microphone.
It's my fault.
There
My
we go.
apologies. I'm back. It's definitely an interesting matchup. 2 absolute legends and icons of the game, with what they've achieved and really did sort of pave the path, so to speak, for a lot of the players that we watch now. But obviously not in the competitive scene as much, but they will have definitely a few tricks still up their sleeve. I genuinely don't know how it's going to go. That's the beauty of it. And I think national pride certainly is going to be a big thing for both of these players. But I think it's going to be a fun game. That's the most important thing for me. Maybe not as, technically adept as maybe the top tier players right now who are playing like every day, every week, every hour. But this, as I say, still got tricks up their sleeve. It's going to be interesting to see what they still got.
Now, Richard and Brandon are going to commentate on this one. We're going to give you a challenge to slide in a word as well, just because it's fun. This time, guys, don't talk about the challenge throughout the commentary, okay?
Yeah, we'll try to. Try not to.
It's meant to be sneakily just sliding it in. Dan, did you want to pick a word?
All right, Brandon, I would like you to get the word shortbread into your commentary.
Amazing. Right. Amazing. And Mark, do you have a word for Richard?
Richard, I want you to get the word wanderlust into your commentary.
Wanderlust?
Okay.
Wanderlust.
Yeah. We're ready. We're ready.
I love it. You ready? Richard, you feeling confident?
No, not really, but let's go for it.
Can we get a
He needs to Google what it means quickly, doesn't he?
Yeah, I was going to say thesaurus.
Wanderlust.
Can we have a bonus point if Richard sneaks in an extra shortbread shout as well?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Okay, let's take a look at that game now. Is our eFriendly game for you today.
Amazing stuff. Thank you very much. And yes, this will be our second game of today's show, Richard. It's a little bit of a throwback, isn't it? We're looking at two world champions here that, if you go back a number of years, these guys were at, you know, the peak of their game, that high point of their FIFA esports career. Of course, back then it was head-to-head FIFA. It was one man from each nation and more of so-called a World Cup experience to see, you know, what it is now.
Probably what we're playing on right now, to be honest, with the 85 rated game mode. That's how you used to qualify for the events when these two players won their titles, Alfonso Ramos and Francisco Cruz. I'll tell you what, you don't lose that FIFA itch. You're playing on a live stream. Yeah. You're playing an eFriendly for your nation. These two are going to be up for this game.
And the best thing about this is as well, you know, we're very lucky now to have these kind of rivalries in Text, Asari. If you go back then, that was that rivalry. You look at Alfonso Ramos, 2008 world champion out in Berlin. He picked up that result there. And then just 3 years later, Francisco comes onto the scene. A very young Francisco it was, if you can search online and look back at those pictures. And then the year later, Richard, what happens? They're both at the FIWC final, and Alfonso Ramos wins on a penalty shootout against Bruce Granick, another two-time FIWC champion. Could have been a three-time champion.
Yeah, just think. If Granick would have won that penalty shootout, I think it was 4-3 in the end, that Alfonso Ramos won that penalty shootout. If Granick wins that, he's a three-time FIWC champion. There's no debate then. I think he's there, GOAT status. But history rewrote itself, and Alfonso Ramos making the two-time on the pedestal with Bruce.
Yeah, well, we are going to have a number of chats to these guys while they are playing. And a really interesting fact that you might not know about Francisco Cruz, the Portuguese FIFA player. After he won the FIWC, he got a tattoo of the trophy with his name on, with the location of where it was in Los Angeles 2011 on the back of his calf, Richard. I don't know if we'll be lucky enough to see it, but I remember, I think it was last year, I was at the eNations Cup, and he was in the gym just on a running machine, and I saw this tattoo on the back of his calf, and I was thinking, what is that? I had to ask him what it was, and it was actually the FIWC trophy, which is amazing. And we can see both of these guys on the screen now, Alfonso and Francisco. If they can hear us, nod, smile, wave, whatever you could do, guys. But we're on the way. It will be Spain against Portugal. There you go. They're smiling. He's smiling, Francisco. But Richard, the last time these two met in a FIFA esports kind of capacity was back at the FIFA eNations Cup, the first ever one last year.
Yeah, both as coaches for their respective teams and respective nations. I'm sure we'll get a deep dive into both of the mentality of the coaching life and the professional football life and FIFA life as well, as competing at half-time and then at full-time when we get a chance to talk to the two players. It's going to be Spain kicking from right to left for Alfonso, and then Portugal from left to right.
I think what really interests me about this as well, Rich, we'll talk about the game as it does get underway now. As you said, Portugal kicking from left to right in that red strip, and Spain in the away white strip that maybe they don't always start in. But it's how these guys have transitioned which really impresses me. Of course, still playing FUT Champions, still having a little bit of fun on FIFA, of course, competing today in front of us, still representing their nations, but they are still involved within the world of FIFA esports, aren't they?
Absolutely. They're sort of icons, really. If you're going to describe them as anything, it would be FIFA icons for their nations, for their clubs. Chance down the left-hand side, but Ricardo Pereira cutting it out. We are doing this completely live as well, so if you do see a little bit of stuttering potentially. So a complete live broadcast. We're all staying at home and it's all around the world right now, so I'm sure the connection will hold up.
Yeah, it's a magnificent remote broadcast, Richard, that's been put together. We've got Ramos out in Spain, of course, Francisco in the left bottom corner of your screen out in Portugal. Me and Richard about 400 miles apart in England as well, all here today to bring you this. But yeah, first 15 minutes gone here again. Nothing to really cheer about so far. There's been a handful of chances either way. Maybe Ramos with the better chance or so. And one fact you wouldn't actually believe, in competition, these guys have never played before.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, that they've not matched up against each other. Played onto the edge there for Sergio Busquets. We're in the 85 rated game mode. Lovely through ball there to Ozrebal, who smashes it past the goalkeeper. Alfonso Ramos taking the lead here.
And you wonder why there was a little finger point. Ramos, 1-0 up. If you can hear us, Ramos. Maybe not, maybe so. Just about to say,
we'll have a proper win for half-time.
I can hear you.
Game underway. Francisco can hear us. We can hear Francisco. We just can't hear.
Yeah, I can
Ramos,
hear you. I can hear you too.
Amazing. There you go.
Perfect.
Sorry, we're not trying to interrupt you. We're not trying to interrupt you.
But
Apologies. We'll talk at half-time. 22 minutes gone in this game. 1-0.
Don't worry.
I'm sure it's no worries at the moment.
For us,
Alfonso, you're winning. You're winning by a goal to nil. You can just see the trophy as well, Rich, in the back of Alfonso's setup there.
For us, it's hard to play without speaking. Imagine if we speak, you know.
We understand. Here's a chance now for Portugal. Silva with it. To Ruben Neves, who's been able to smash a handful of goals in for club and country from the edge of the box. Some of the volleys I've seen that man smash to the back of net. Incredible.
Yeah, remarkable, isn't it? Ruben Neves. Last time these two matched up in professional football was at the World Cup, Brandon. That unreal game, 3 apiece, with the Cristiano Ronaldo free kick from the edge of the box in Russia.
Yeah, unbelievable game, wasn't it? Here's Ruben Neves on the edge of the box. That drag back from Francisco. Goes as far as Pereira. Portugal trailing by a goal to nil in the first third of this game. Neves with all the ball at the moment. He's just trying to find Cristiano Ronaldo, which is what he's struggling with at this moment in time. Possession goes all the way over to the left-hand side. A chance to play inside now. Here is Cristiano Ronaldo. Surely a goal. There you go. Jota with it. And we are all square at 1-1. Diego Jota as well, Richard, currently been playing in these eNation stay-and-play friendlies alongside, of course, a handful of the Portuguese FIFA pros.
Yeah, he's got a bit about him, doesn't he, Diego Jota? We saw him play an Ultimate Team a little while ago, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, Brandon, and he takes FIFA very seriously, does Diego Jota. You saw the offside trap there from Alfonso, not only me to tell him. That was the reason that chance did come around for Francisco.
Here is Cristiano Ronaldo. Pereira. Is there any way through if he can try and break it up? Ruben Neves again picking up possession 40 minutes into this one. We've been loving keeping possession in the midfield. Can he find Ronaldo? Just lurking in around the box. Jota as well in there. Not defended on the other side by Pablo Alcácer, who's actually back to defend for his team of all players. Morata. Into Asensio.
It's a very tall team. But that's one of the things that I'm picking up here. Fabian, Alcácer, Morata, Asensio, all players who are pretty lengthy.
Such a different Spanish team as well, Richard. You think back to the heyday of the Iniestas,
Torres, Villa.
Torres is in there, Casillas in goal. Puyol at the back. Jota now have a chance. I tell you what, Francisco Cruz just broke that defence apart like a freshly baked piece of shortbread. Unbelievable stuff. And he will break the deadlock. 2-1. What a turnaround.
Lovely through ball down the line as well. Just whipping it in that near post. Francisco leading 2-1, 2 late goals after trailing 1-0 here. That's going to take us into half-time.
Here we go. We can have an actual opportunity to talk to both of you now, guys. Sorry if we did interrupt you in normal time. But Alfonso, first and foremost to you. Talk to us about the game. You're currently 2-1 down, and then we'd love to hear a little bit more about that trophy just to the side of it.
I made 2 mistakes in the game because I really tried to use the offside trap. But it's okay because my team was so deep down. I want to steal the ball. But it's okay. Francisco is a very good player, and mistakes are being paid. So it's fine. It's fine.
The pair of you must have been at competitions before. Do you have a funny story or any stories for the people watching at home between you two?
I think we were talking with Brandon before, and Francisco wants to say something.
Yeah. There is a funny story between me and Alfonso in Dubai, where I was defending my title. And Alfonso, after my game between me and Bruce Granek, where Bruce beat me 1-0, Alfonso said to me that he was really confident and he was going to win the tournament. And he was not the favorite on that tournament because in the group stage, Alfonso only made to the knockouts on the last minute between him and Massimo, I think. Alfonso, is that right?
Yeah, right.
And he said to me that he was going to win the tournament, and he felt so confident that I never forgot about that. He felt amazingly confident, and it was a surprise for me because he almost got eliminated on the group stage, and the fact is that Alfonso made history and won the FIWC for the second time.
Amazing stories.
Speaking of that confidence, Alfonso, is that something when you're coaching that you're trying to sort of get that into your players, the just 100% confidence in their ability?
Yeah, I usually give them confidence. I usually do it also in the real football games because I'm a football coach also, in the real life. I think it's very important, the confidence. I think it's very, very important to be a champ, to win games. It's the most important because if you have confidence, you will take the good decisions and then they will lead you to the win.
Amazing stuff. Alfonso, quickly, where's your second trophy, or did they only give you one FIWC trophy?
I don't know.
You lost it?
Seven trophies in the living room, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because
just spread them around the house. Just spread them around the house.
Yeah.
Spread them around the house.
This is the one from Dubai that is with me in my room, and the other is in the living room. I think I don't know right now because the house now is a mess.
How can you distinguish them?
Because in the backside of the last one, Dubai is written.
Francisco, your webcam's running away from you. It keeps on spinning.
Sorry.
I don't know why. There you go.
There you go. Right, guys. Let's get into the second half. Let's try and see who's going to be victorious in this game.
Office, in my office, I'm at home these days.
Wonderful.
That's why.
Good luck,
we
guys.
appreciate you guys tuning in and giving up your time to entertain us. So here we go then, guys. Portugal lead 2-1, leaving that first half. And we're back underway for the second half, Richard. And it was an interesting one, wasn't it? We didn't see too much for the first 20 minutes or so. And then in the space of 15 minutes, we saw 3 goals.
Yeah, as Alfonso said, a couple of offside traps, just letting Francisco just come in and take the space at the near post with Diogo on that second goal. Looking to get us underway, though, here with Espanyol.
Here's Asensio back inside. Chance for that equaliser. Well defended by Pepe, of all people. Defended back. As we said, we are playing 85 rated head-to-head mode. Yesterday we saw Denmark, Richard and Fredberg playing forwards in at left back and right back. I don't think we've seen it so far in this game. Chance now for Alba on this far-hand side. It goes into the box. Alcazar, what a save on the rebound. Rui Patricio there, and Pepe to save the day.
Unbelievable defending, wasn't it, on the line there? Pepe getting back, scooping it away. Just looking to see. It looks like it's a 4-4-2 in action here for Alfonso.
Yeah, I changed 4-4-2 from 4-2-3-1 in the second half.
There you go, a little tactical insight into what Ramos has changed. Interesting change as well, Richard, because obviously he was leading by a goal to nil.
I'm playing 4-4-2, just like my player of Sporting, Diogo.
Yeah, a little word into that as well, Francisco. Now, obviously a coach at Sporting Club de Portugal. What's that been like for you? What's that experience been like?
Yeah, it's really challenging, you know, because as Alfonso was saying, is all about giving confidence to the players. It's not about so technical, I think, in esports, because they really know how to play the game. We just have to remember them that they know how to play the game and give them confidence. That's the most difficult thing, I think.
I think we saw as well, Richard, didn't we? Back at the eNations Cup when Francisco was coaching, of course, Sporting at the time, and that chance right at the end, wasn't it, for Diogo? And obviously they went through in the group in the end, but just that drama. I remember seeing Francisco just trying to calm down his players as best as he could.
It's all mental in the sort of elite level of FIFA as well. I'm sure the guys would agree with that. Everyone knows how to play FIFA. Everyone knows the tactics and the meta, but it's that mental fortitude, that mental confidence that sets champions away from competitors and contenders.
Yeah.
As we can see,
That's
just 20 minutes left in this game. Absolutely over the moon to have two legends of the FIFA esports scene in our company. Between them both, 3 huge world championships. Alfonso picking up 2 of those. You can cast your mind back to 2008 and of course 2012. On the other side of that, Francisco picking up the result in Los Angeles of all places. That was Janos that lost in that final, a player that's still involved in the FIFA scene now.
Still up there on the Global Series rankings as well, Janos.
Just inside the top 16, I think.
Consistency.
16th spot at the moment, doesn't he, on the FIFA.gg rankings.
When you think that 9 years ago he was in a grand final and he's still making World Championship finals to this day, that's unbelievable consistency. So probably doesn't get the recognition he deserves, to be honest.
We'll talk about after this chance comes in from Bruma of Portugal. Just 14 minutes left of normal time. Francisco, are you surprised that Janos is still playing at such high level? Because, you know, 2011 it was when you guys played in that final in Los Angeles, and 9 years on, Janos still competing at such a high level.
As Janos said one time on a FIFA interview, the loss against me was the most important of his career, because he felt that he could do more, and the challenge for him is to do it again. So he's trying, and I'm not surprised, because he is really good, and he shows that he's so good being on this level all these years.
Amazing. He's such a nice guy as well, Janos, isn't he, Richard? Always got time for everybody.
Oh.
And what a man he is.
Always got time for an interview, for some insight. He is, great chap.
Are we going to see an
5 minutes left to
equaliser
go
in this
here.
game? Here's a chance. Into the box, Morata. He's just offside. Timed his run slightly off there. I mean, we had a golden goal yesterday, didn't we, Richard? We had this exact, pretty much scenario, last-minute equaliser from Denmark in yesterday's show. Is it going to be game over, though? This is like an unbelievable chance for Portugal now. Bruma, Ronaldo's also in the box. Is he going to find Ronaldo? Cut back, edge of the box. There's the chance. Cristiano Ronaldo off the post. It ricochets.
Somehow just hits the post there. Banking on Cristiano Ronaldo to hit the target. But you've got to remember, it's only an 85 rated Ronaldo. Very highly nerfed compared to his usual stats.
Carvajal round the corner, little fake shot into the box. Oh, there's the equaliser. What is it with me and you commentating, Richard, and just seeing 2-2 score lines?
Absolute saint here. You see Alfonso Ramos giving the big celebration. Wonderful celebrations there in this final match of the Stay and Play friendlies.
Campos always scores on the last minute.
He's always got those extra few minutes in him. And there goes the full-time whistle any second now, referee. We've had our time, and I mean, there's no better way, I should say, to end this game. Two absolute legends of the FIFA esports scene, both levelling out the game at 2-2, all squared between the two. Alfonso, first and foremost, talk to us about that game. How do you think it went? You pulled it back in the end.
Yeah, I think, well, it's Francisco's really good, and it's always a complicated game. He wanted to keep possession. I changed in the end. I chose 4-1-2-1-2 with the fullbacks high as possible. That's why how the goal came. Sorry, because Carvajal, as you know, he were really high. I did the fake shot, and then Morata is going to score because he's really tall.
There'll be a lot of people watching at home who's thinking, this is an unbelievable opportunity. I've got two world champions. One piece of advice from each of you to up-and-coming pros that's going to set them up to the next level. How to get from that top 100 player to that sort of event player. Alfonso, you first.
Yeah, I think it's about mental, but also it's about how you play the game, how you train. It's better to play 1 or 2 hours per day than 8 if you are not doing the things right. For example, I prefer to play 1 hour or 2 against pro players than 1 hour or 2 in division rivals, because I'm going to play the meta, I'm going to know how things work, and I think this is very important. I think people need to compete in tournaments better than playing division rivals. And then they have to know what they are doing bad or what they are doing good. And you have to improve in that way. Okay, I'm doing this in a wrong way. For example, Tex and Nuestra is doing this thing in this way. Okay, I'm going to copy them. I'm going to try to do it.
And Francisco?
I would say the same, but I would also say that you should not take a step bigger than your leg. You should think that you are on a level. Don't try to think that you are good enough to play against some better players. Try to learn and in every game that you play, and be calm, and if you are good enough, you will achieve the top.
Amazing stuff. Well, thank you so much for that game. If you both can just stay there at your setup still, we are going to jump over to Spencer and Layla to break down your match there, that 4-goal thriller. If you guys just stay hold, I think Spencer's going to be coming back and chatting to you soon. But thank you so much, of course, Alfonso and Francisco, for that game. And yeah, over to Spencer and Layla to break down the action.
Thank you,
Brandon, I think I'm going to take those words right out of your mouth. 4-goal thriller. It was absolutely awesome. Here are the highlights. Here are the goals. Spencer, to walk us through.
Yeah, it was not a disappointment at all. The Iberian derby, of course. And you can see Alfonso on the ball here with Spain. Asensio to Alcácer, who goes back to the man Busquets. Great link-up play. A lot of the goals we're seeing in these friendlies have a similar connection, which is this intricate passing on the edge of the box. It's the most effective way to get yourself in on goal on the 85 rated game mode. And now you can see Portugal down the left hand side here with Francisco. Ball in, good through ball, an extra pass in the middle. Even when you've got Cristiano Ronaldo on the ball, still worth playing the extra pass in this case too. The man we saw playing FIFA himself yesterday, Diogo Jota, who scored it. So 1-1 now, and despite being 1-0 down at one point, we do see Francisco get back on top here with another goal for Diogo Jota at the near post. But it was the last minute of the game that saw the legend from Spain, Alfonso Ramos, with I think a cheeky nutmeg from Carvajal there. Great ball into Morata, who heads it home to get the equaliser, and definitely did not disappoint in the Iberian derby between Portugal and Spain.
Great game there. You can watch that game if you missed it over on FIFA.gg and all the other friendlies that we've been having there as well. Now, Spencer, I believe you're going to chat to the two players a little more. I loved what Francisco said about how the majority of his job is just reminding players that they can play the game. Do ask him a little bit more about self-belief and confidence in players, because I find that super interesting too.
Yeah, thanks, Layla. Yeah, I wanted to chat some more with you guys because it's an absolute privilege to have you both. Obviously, we've mentioned that you're long-serving stalwarts of the scene. You've been around a long time. Francisco, starting with you, one of my earlier memories of interaction with you is when we hosted what at the time was this kind of haphazard world's first tournament between clubs. So what we did is we hosted an event along with the team I support, West Ham, at West Ham's brand new London Stadium at the time. We invited a load of people from different clubs in Europe to come over and play this tournament. We kind of made up on the spot a way of playing it. It probably felt quite unorganized from you. I don't know if it did, Francisco, but you were obviously over there with Sporting. We had loads of different guys from different countries. We had a few English teams, obviously West Ham, Man City. We had a couple of the German clubs. It was really the first. I mean, obviously since then we've seen things like the E-Club World Cup really take that idea and run with it and really establish it. But my question to you is, as someone who's been around the scene for a long time, you talked about your win in 2011. We're talking about these slow improvements in the scene in terms of tournaments. How does it feel to, one, be a part of that growth, but also to see where it's gone from and where it's come to?
First of all, I think the tournament was well organized.
Okay.
I think the final was between Sean Allen and Harry, if I'm right. And talking about the growth of esports, it's always I would say we are just a little bit jealous because when we won, there was no how should I say, just say the prize money was not good enough as this one, and that's the thing that we think more, I think, because now the money is always important, but it's always nice to see the clubs entering on esports. I think that was the key moment when some big organizations started to enter on the scene, because it gave to the players some stability that they didn't have on my time as a pro player, because we had to give a lot of time to the game, and we didn't have that income that we have these days. I think that's the most the biggest difference of that days and these days.
Yeah, it's all about timing, of course. I mean, we've seen the same in real football, for example. You know, players that played for the love of the game in the 40s and 50s and 60s when they weren't able to make anywhere near the money that obviously footballers are making now. And it's the same in esports. I think one thing that I often mention to players is using people like yourselves as examples and saying, look, because sometimes, I think that some players get a bit of a sense of entitlement. They want everything now. They want everything to be the same as maybe other esports, and FIFA is very much in its own world. We've got this amazing sport that everything is based off of, which some other esports don't have. And I think people need to be a bit more patient. I'll often say to people, look at the examples of these guys who aren't getting the opportunities you have because of purely just down to timing, and remember that, and also remember that they've paved the way for you. What you guys have done has allowed these opportunities to exist. So I think a lot of people owe you a debt of gratitude. Alfonso, I've got a bit of a question for you. I heard a rumor on the grapevine that you once played a game of FIFA against a certain masked FIFA player, I think he was called. I don't know anything really about him, but I heard that you actually lost to him during the 2013 FIFA Interactive World Cup, and he actually has your shirt now. from that tournament, and it says to FIFA player, "You're the real world champion, Alfonso Ramos." Can you confirm these crazy rumors?
Yeah, I can confirm. Can
you tell us more about what happened?
I think the match was West Ham against other team, and FIFA player won 2-1. I think in the second day of the competition, in the whole of the hotel, if I'm not wrong. But it's okay. It's okay.
I actually heard, obviously I'm speaking in the third person here because I don't really know FIFA player, but I heard from FIFA player that he feels quite guilty about it because you had won all your games, I think, in the group stage that day. You were doing really well in the tournament and you were going to potentially become, I don't think you were a two-time champion at this point, were you? Or were you looking to become the two-time champion at this point?
Yeah, I look to become the third-time champion, yeah, because I think that year I was playing really, really good. But it was kind of unlucky in the group stage because the second day was terrible for me. I missed a lot of chances in 3 matches and I couldn't go through. But it is what it is. It's football. It's FIFA. If you don't score, you won't go through.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a great moment in the FIFA player's career. Certainly a high for him to be able to beat a world champion. Thanks to Andy Carroll for providing that goal for West Ham. But listen, guys, last thing I want to say to you, obviously, is stay safe where you are. Look after yourselves. I know that, obviously, all the countries in the world are being affected quite hard by right now, but Spain especially, much like the UK, Alfonso, is in troubled times at the moment. So how are things over there and how are you keeping safe?
Yeah, I'm holding on. My family are good. My friends are good. I'm holding on. It's been, I think, 44 days at home. I only went out 3 times to go to the supermarket, but I'm holding on. I'm doing things. I'm studying. I'm playing, of course. So I'm trying to keep me busy. And that's all. Let's pray for this to end soon because I want to see my friends. I want to go back to the football pitch and enjoy. So let's see. But now we are in difficult times. We have to listen to the rules and the recommendations that our governments are given to us, and hopefully it will be end soon.
Definitely, yeah. And Francisco, all of our thoughts are with you guys in Portugal as well. Thank you to both of you for joining us. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Spence. What a great chat. I wonder whether potentially that shirt could still be at your house, Spence. Is that there? Have you got it?
Not my house. It's nothing to do with me, Layla.
Well, it might be left there.
Someone
might have accidentally left it there.
What a man.
No, I mean, FIFA player has it at his house for sure. I know that for a fact because I heard it.
At his,
on
not
Twitter.
at yours.
Yeah, not here.
So
no.
we can't see that no matter what.
It's not within like 3 meters of me right now. Definitely not. No.
Great chat, Spence. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Good.
We're gonna have really great and insightful. We're gonna have another chat now. Diogo Pomba is on the line. Diogo, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm really upset because of all this situation, but I'm trying to be calm and as much as I could expect it to be happy, of course.
I can completely understand that emotion. With you saying that you're trying to be calm, walk us through what kind of thing are you doing to keep yourself busy during this time, and how are you mentally trying to stay calm?
Yeah, I'm having online classes because I'm studying this year, so I'm quite busy during the week, and during the weekend I try to play some FIFA games, not to lose the shape, of course, trying to be in the best form that I could have because so someday there could be a tournament and I need to be ready for it.
And with the way that you're playing at the moment, do you feel that your mentality has changed, or do you still feel as competitive despite it not being competitive gaming?
I think my mentality is the same because I want to be better in each of the days. I know we pro players really miss the pro events. That's why we play. That's why we love to play FIFA, because we really miss the pro events and the points that we earn there, and of course the money. It's bad because there is no current tournaments live, so we need to be calm. We need to keep practicing because we don't know when the situation will calm down and when we will be more tournaments to play. So I think our mentality for the pro players to be focused on the game, not to lose our form, to be as much better as we could be.
Tuga, in FIFA 19, you kind of defined the meta at one point, quite a defensive style that you had, and us analysing the gameplay, we always have to be honest, and I have sometimes said that you are a very defensive player, and that's no disrespect to you, but how do you personally as a professional kind of react to pundits and analysts kind of saying, well, he's a defensive player or he doesn't do some things attacking like some people might want to see?
As I told in a previous interview with Jimmy Connor, I think, I told in that interview that I would prefer to be called a good defender rather than a good attacker. Because I think and I really love to not concede goals. I prefer to not concede goals than like winning games at 5-4, because I know I'm good at attacking, but I'm bad at defending. So I try to always improve in my defensive style. I like to play games with pros that they're always attacking and me defending, because I need to be consistent and I need to be confident in my defense, because I know it's easier to attack than to defend. So I think for me it's better to learn the defense, because the attacking side will be natural for me to score goals. So I think I think I'm feeling good, because I'm defending well, not only in FIFA 19 as you said, but also in FIFA 20, and I hope to be named like a good defender throughout these FIFAs.
Yeah, amazing stuff. And just to butt in and just ask a quick question, we spoke a lot about memories on the last few days here on these shows. There's the sound. What's been your best memory in FIFA esports? I think for me, I spoke about yesterday, that win, Tuga, in the eNations Cup last year. I've never seen a more happy and big celebration than you gave us in that, of course, the eNations Cup final. What's been your best memory so far of being involved in esports?
I think I can define two of the biggest memories that I had in my short FIFA career, because I started last year. And last year, I think I had two big moments. One of that was like eNations. It was my first time playing with my national team. I was really proud to play. I play with more passion. I always played with passion, but representing my country, it was definitely a different tournament, a different feeling, because I was not playing with my team. I was playing with my country, and I knew, me and Rasta there, that we had like 11 million supporters behind us, sending messages, sending all the support that we need to get as longer as we could go. So I think that was one of the greatest memories last year, and the other one was to win in Atlanta the FUT Champions Cup 4 against Nicholas, the PS4 side. Unfortunately, I lost against Tex in that cross console, but winning the PS4 sides and in that moment be the top one in the world from the PS4, I think was also a great memory for me to remember. And I think these two memories I won't forget soon. Yeah.
A quick question for you, Tuga, as well, from Onset here. I hope you're well, hope you're staying safe. Just a very quick question to ask. Who are the players that you have looked up to and got you into competitive FIFA? We've just had two icons of the game playing a friendly game right now. Who are the players that kind of inspired you to pick up the sticks and really take it to the next level?
Of course, one of the FIFA players that I admire a lot is Francisco, who is playing right here against Alfonso Ramos, because he is a former FIFA Interactive World Cup champion. I think that was a really achievement for him and for the Portugal scene, because it was the first one to get a trophy. And also some good players in Portugal, because since last year and before that, I wasn't even as good as I am now. So I think I'm inspiring in the pro Portugal players like Rasta Arthur and some old Portuguese FIFA players to improve myself and to be better every day. And I think those players for me inspired me a lot, and to be better throughout the days and throughout these FIFAs.
Tuga, thank you so much for speaking with us. Really appreciate your time today. Stay safe.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Great chatting to him. Before we get on to our quiz, which I know everyone is excited about, we just need to react to the fact that both you guys got your words into the commentary. I really appreciated that. Shortbread I heard that one. And what was the other one?
Richard's was poor, very, very poor.
It went my I understand
was
that.
it.
I take that on the chin.
Richard's was 90 plus 2. I mean, it came in at.
Yeah, but also he didn't understand the definition of the word.
Do you know the definition of the word, Rich?
You just said the word. That's pretty much all you did.
There's no context. So for that reason,
Spencer, I'll allow you.
yeah, the winner is going to be this man.
That is a goal.
Well done, Brandon.
Congratulations.
Well done, Brandon.
Well done for sliding it in.
Well done, mate.
Okay, we are going to go into our quiz, which we are, of course, taking extremely seriously. Let's take a look at the standings at current, because there is a debate to be happening. Brandon Smith is in first place, equal alongside Richard Buckley and Spencer Owen, with Dan Gaskin and Mark Hatcher trailing behind with only 1 point. Now, Mark, there's a little bit of a story here, because yesterday I tweeted Moaba, obviously with one of the questions we asked, what was the pet that Moaba has? The answer was cat, but Mark, you seem to have a debate around that answer.
Well, the answer is Python. And Mo Alba has actually he's confirmed this on Twitter for us. You can see it there. You know, that photo was taken at a very recent holiday that he went out to. That's straight from the mouth of Mo Alba. That's straight from his official Twitter account. Give me the point. I'm not here to argue about it. I'm here to tell you to give me the point. I deserve it. Nobody else knew he had a Python.
It looks like something out of the Tiger King, that picture.
Yeah, a little bit.
So
If you give him a point after robbing me of the point yesterday, I will be thoroughly disappointed in you.
I need to bring this up. Dan Gaskin actually messaged us after the show to complain about the points taken off him.
I should be top. I should get that point and the Python. I should be on 3 points.
Layla, you're losing control of this quiz.
It. I am. I'm losing control of this quiz. Moaba confirmed it, but I'm not going to accept that photo, that poorly edited photo as proof. So he is not getting that point. I'm sorry, Mark Hatcher. The standings stay as they are. We are going to begin the second part of the quiz. You have another chance to pull it back, Mark. Sit forward on your seat, please. Let's take this seriously. Everyone, pen and paper to hand. Let's take a look at the first question. You guys at home can join in as well using the hashtag World Cup at home. I'm going to pull them up here right now. So the first question, other than German and English, so apart from German and English, what language can Dull and Mike speak? Other than German and English, what other language can Dull and Mike speak? Oh, Brandon, I love your face there. Immediately, Brandon has no idea.
Next.
I don't know this.
Richard, you're looking confident.
I know it.
My brush is too big. What's going on here? Hold on.
Are you painting your answer? What do you mean?
I'm using my iPad, remember?
I don't think hashtag Harry's the answer.
Hashtag Harry?
That was from yesterday.
Although he does speak his own language, that boy.
Oh, God. I love my brush is too big. Okay, so other than German and English, what language does Dull and Mike speak? If everybody is ready, Spencer, have you finished your essay?
I've got a wrong answer. Yeah.
Okay, please reveal your answers now. Sign language. What's Harry? What? Oh, you've written sign language. Deepish. I don't know what that is. And Spencer's gone for Austrian. Dan, Brandon, and Mark is correct. He speaks sign language.
Dan, he's not right. He wrote deepish.
He does sign
language.
Sorry.
I got the point.
Richard, Brandon, and Mark. No, that's my error. I said that wrong. Sorry, Dan. You don't get it. Richard, Brandon, and Mark. I'm going to need production to help me out with counting points here because math is not my forte. But the correct answer was sign language. Well done. Right, question number 2. Who was the first ever winner of the... Is this correct? Yeah. Who was the first ever winner of the FIFA Interactive World Cup, formerly the FEWC?
If Brandon doesn't know, I've got no chance.
I know it's a bit of a... I can't really tell you. It's a bit of a long barrel name, this one.
It's there's four names to the thing.
Yeah, you're right.
He's Brazilian.
Well,
I can't remember his name.
I've got it.
Stop Googling it, Brandon.
Stop. Oh, yeah, is somebody Googling?
Disqualified.
Richard looks like he's in front of a computer.
Well, we're all in front of computers.
We're all in
front of computers.
So true. Okay, I'm ready for you to reveal your answers, please. The first ever winner of the FIFA Interactive World Champion World Cup. I think. Oh, Richard, read to me what you've written.
I got halfway there.
I just put don't know.
Don't know, right? So I think none of you have got this right. If my reading is correct.
Got it right.
I've got Thiago Carico de Avezado from Brazil. So none of you got it correct.
Yeah, but he goes by Ronaldinho to his friends.
I thought that was the true identity of FIFA player. That's what I thought.
Can we run with that? I'm going to give you Spence. I'm going to give you that.
No, you're not. No, you're absolutely not.
I am not having this.
Why not?
He's friends with Ronaldinho. Everyone knows that.
You know what? Points are arbitrary. I'm giving someone a point because I can't go through this with no one getting any points and you all getting everything wrong. So that'll drive you to get the next one right. Okay, next question. I love this. Points are arbitrary now, guys. Who held a Twitter poll? Oh, this is good. Which got over 7,000 votes asking whether or not he should go to sleep before watching the Tyson Fury fight.
Oh, easy.
Oh, really?
That was rich, wasn't it?
How'd you spell Rosenmeyer?
W.
Harry, isn't it? Hashtag. Harry.
I got my answer.
Please reveal your answers, boys. Well, oh my gosh, has everyone got it right? Richard Buckley, every single person gets a point. You see, this is why I have to dish out arbitrary points. Oh. Correct, yeah, you do. Now you do. Now you do.
I thought you weren't going to give us any of us it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go straight to the next question. Let's just take a look at the scores, an update of where we are currently. Brandon Smith in first place alongside Richard and Spencer. Mark Hatcher in fourth with 3 points and Dan Gaskin with 2. I don't want to keep reminding them of the points because they just get angry about it.
I've taken Ian's advice from earlier and I've just been trying to provide comedic value to the broadcast. So,
you know
ridiculous answers.
You know what? This is my reaction to your answers.
Okay, here's a question you can take really seriously because I think you guys should nail this. I want you to name the fastest and slowest player on FIFA 20.
Well, this is a very difficult question, Layla, because there are a lot of ins
speed
and outs.
rating and acceleration.
But are we talking with
speed rating and acceleration together? You can do this. Said in the most patronising voice you've ever heard.
Slowest. Oh, jeez. No idea. Genuinely no idea.
Oh.
There is 1 point being dished
I've got
out
one for fastest.
For the fastest and 1 point being dished out for the slowest if you get it correct.
Is this base card?
Two names.
I'm going with this. I've got reasoning.
Icon included?
I am ready for you to reveal your answers. Just go with it, guys.
Slowest.
Hold on.
There's no hold on. The question master has told us to do it, Dan. Have some respect.
Yes, reveal your answers now, please.
Okay.
That's Mbappe and Bayo I went with slowest. You can see that.
Guys, I'm really surprised. I can't read these all very well. I'm really surprised none of you have gone for more goalkeepers.
Kind of English,
okay, so the fastest is Adama Traore. Speed rating of 97, acceleration of 96. The slowest, you've gone for Akin Fenwa. I can't see your answers anymore, but my production will help me with the points there. The slowest is Horacio Ramirez, speed rating of 11, acceleration of 14. So who got a point? Who got that right?
I got Adama Traore, fast Adama Traore.
You got Traore.
0.
Dan?
But he got a gold upgrade.
I got none because this question was a trick question again, Layla.
Yeah, you're going to complain.
Goalkeeper should be allowed.
I got none.
I'm going to hit you with another question. Are you ready?
Wait. I've just Googled something. Team of the Year Mbappe has got 99 acceleration, 99 sprint speed.
Base items. Base
item Traore doesn't. He's a silver.
Yeah, but there's like 99 rated like Ibrahimovic for pace. Doesn't mean he's got
base
that.
We're going to take that further. I'm going to take control of this. I just want to confirm where we are currently. Let's have a look at the scoreboard.
Yeah,
we are running out of time, so I'm going to leave it here. And currently, Spencer Owen is in first place with 5 points. That 1 point that I gave him clearly would have made no difference whatsoever. Richard Buckley in second, Brandon Smith in equal place second position, Mark and Hatcher and Dan Gaskin. Guys, thank you so much for that. I'm very sorry I frustrated you unbelievably towards the end, but I appreciate you taking part in my ridiculous quiz.
Winner! This is what I think of Dan Gaskin.
We've had some
Rigged.
We've had some great guests today. We've had some great games as well. If you missed any of it, you can watch it at FIFA.gg. Spencer Owen, Dan Gaskin, Bradley Smith, Mark Hatcher, and Richard Buckley. Thank you so much for being part of the team. I've had fun. We've had a great time. Everyone stay safe and stay home. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Yeah.